What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you through my transfer plan for the upcoming normal game week 27. So yes, that's right, the first normal game week in a while. The double game week 25 has happened, the blank game week 26 is happening. So game week 27 might be a little bit of a break from all the complex situations. So going back to blank game week 26, don't worry, I'll be giving you guys an update or a team review of how the team is currently going, as it has been a little bit of a weird blank game week after I took a -8 hit. So I'll showcase if that hit has actually paid off, if you're on a green arrow or a red arrow, and I'll give you guys the current overall rank. Then we'll be turning attention to all the goodness in terms of game week 27. We have about 4.0 million left in the bank, so quite a big upgrade can be made, and I'll showcase how I'm actually going to do it. So if that's something you guys are interested in, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over a quick review of blank game week 26, as you guys can see, currently on a red arrow down to the 54k mark, and that's a red arrow of about 14k places. So not the best game week, to be honest, and that's thanks to that massive -8 hit that we did take, but I'll explain why I actually needed to do it when I go over the players. Now in terms of game week 27, 1 free transfer and 4.0 left in the bank, so massive upgrade can be made if you want to do it. Now the current overall points are going to be 52 without the -8, and therefore we're on a few less points, but don't worry guys, we still have one player to feature tonight. So yes, our game week relies on the man himself, Areola, against Brentford at home. Do I expect a clean sheet? No. Do I expect any points? No. And therefore the red arrow is basically cemented. But let's just see, last time we had to rely on Areola, he got us I think 10 points, so a repeat of that tonight will be quite nice. Now as you guys know, in a blank game week, the bench is usually going to be pretty popular with blank game week options, and Dubravka added an extra player there after he fell ill for that Newcastle game. Now if you guys did start Dubravka, might have actually been better that he didn't feature, as they conceded quite a few goals to Arsenal. Then our double up of Spurs, Richarlison and Porro obviously had a blank game week, so let's see what Areola does tonight. Surely he can best 0 points. Fingers crossed it's another double-digit return. Now the annoying thing about one of our transfers this week was the fact that we brought Pau Torres in. As you guys know, he conceded and got subbed off at halftime, but this seems like it was a precaution according to Emery. But what we could have just done is obviously started Lascelles over Pau Torres and then saved ourselves a -4 hit. But I guess it is what it is, can't really predict injuries, but after Darwin and Kevin De Bruyne getting injured, we might just be cursed with our transfers in. Now at least Aston Villa didn't go on and keep the clean sheet because that would have been quite bad, but fingers crossed Pau Torres is back for at least blank game week 29. Now the disappointment in the defensive department continued, but even more so with our double up of Saliba and Gabriel. If you guys don't know, this was the Newcastle game. They were winning 4-0 and they decided to concede in the last few minutes. So massively disappointing because both these options would have been massive differential points, and we honestly needed them if we had any chance of a green arrow. Now no attacking returns in this one, but the clean sheet points would have been enough, and not many managers actually own the double up in the defensive department. So once again, another game week of Arsenal conceding a ridiculously low amount of XG, but then losing the clean sheet in the last few minutes. Hopefully this doesn't happen in the future game weeks. But other defensive options like Estupiñán didn't even feature, but that's why those Arsenal clean sheet points would have been that much sweeter. But as you guys can see, overall, an absolute horror story in our defensive department, which doesn't bode too well for Areola. Let's see if the midfield department did improve. Unfortunately not with Garnacho, they ended up losing to Fulham and he wasn't involved in the 1 goal that United scored. But because he's so cheap, I can't really be that mad. The only thing to be mad about is the fact that every game week I've kind of owned him hasn't really done that well, and the 1 week when he got a brace, I actually benched him. So the punt unfortunately didn't pay off, but at least he got us 2 points. Sometimes in a blank game week, that can be a haul. We then move on to Bukayo Saka, got us a 10-point appearance, yet another kind of double-digit return from the Arsenal man. He's absolutely in form at the moment. Arsenal also cooking at the moment in terms of their attack, and game week 27 might be the week we actually go and captain him. Just very unlucky if you guys didn't kind of keep hold, but I saw some managers bring him in this game week, so 10 points would have been super sweet. Now one of the other chances we did this week was De Bruyne out for Hwang Hee-chan. We got news before deadline, about 5 minutes to go, that De Bruyne was actually going to be benched, and therefore I decided to take a 1 week punt potentially on the Wolves midfielder. You guys know what happened next. Managed to get injured in the warm-up, but then played the game, but only the clean sheet point came about. So overall, Sheffield United lost this fixture by only conceding 1 goal, and Hwang Hee-chan got 0 attacking returns. So do I regret this move? I guess considering the alternatives were a Leon Bailey or a Douglas Luiz, but if you're going to take a 1 week punt on anyone, it's going to be against Sheffield United at home. Now De Bruyne also came off in that game against Bournemouth, but then got yellow carded for time wasting, so he ended up on 0 points, which made the move look a little bit better. Talking about Man City, Phil Foden scored the only goal in that Bournemouth fixture and therefore got quite a few bonus points, and he ended up on a massive 11. Just shows the power of kind of winning to nil in terms of midfielder, and Phil Foden just a great FPL asset this season now that he's getting some minutes. So thanks to him and Saka, but these two players are quite well owned. Unfortunately, the differentials Hwang Hee-chan and Garnacho did nothing. Now, forward department started off quite slow with Dom Solanke, but I guess this was against Man City. The blank was always a potential against one of the best defenses in the Prem, but he did have a chance cleared off the line by some good defending. So it could have been for Dom Solanke in Game Week 26, but Man City's always going to be a tough game. Now, another transfer in was going to be Ollie Watkins, kind of the mainstay transfer this week, was going to be taking out Darwin Núñez for the Aston Villa striker, and he returned with 9 points on his debut. So very welcome back for Ollie Watkins to my FPL team. Let's see if he can keep it up in the future game weeks. So in terms of our transfers in, it was Pau Torres in, Hwang Hee-chan in and Watkins in, Darwin went out, KDB went out, as well as Lascelles, and therefore we did make a net gain on the transfers. Now the last option was going to be our captain, Erling Haaland, who only got 1 assist in that Bournemouth game, and therefore ended up on 5 points, doubled to 10. So not the best game week for Erling Haaland and Man City. If you guys did a good differential on someone like a Saka, that was well worth it. Quite a quiet game week from the Norwegian. Once again though, a big chance was missed in this fixture. Just seems like his conversion rate has gone down a little bit in the past few game weeks. But as you guys can see, the reason we're on a red arrow is thanks to a massive -8. It would be quite unique if we managed to get a green arrow on a -8 hit, but let's see if Ariola can do us some favors tonight. In the comments down below, did you guys get a green arrow or a red arrow for Game Week 26? And where are you guys sitting in the overall ranks? Now before we go over the actual transfer plan, let's go over the actual team selection currently with no transfers made. Just remember, 1 free transfer and 4.0 left in the bank for a big upgrade. So starting off on our bench, and we have unfortunately some injuries. Pedro Porro at the current moment might play, and if he does, he has a great fixture against Crystal Palace. Pau Torres has Luton away, which is a little bit of a tougher game. I do expect Luton to score on this one, so I'm fine benching Pau, but he also has that knock at the moment. Then with Garnacho against Man City, don't have much hope for the United assets, and with Dubravka, because I own Hwang Hee-chan, I'm going to be benching him for Newcastle. So that therefore means I'm starting Ariola against Everton away. This might be a tougher game on the cards, but as mentioned, I'm going to be playing the odds with Hwang Hee-chan in midfield, but if I do sell the South Korean, then I might switch the goalkeepers. But out of these two goalkeepers, probably 0 clean sheets, as both defenses are pretty terrible. Then our back line will be the double up once again of Saliba and Gabriel against Sheffield United away. Surely this is the game that they do keep a clean sheet, and hopefully 1 or 2 attacking returns. All I'm hoping for is with the schedule quite congested, both these two players do still feature, as this is a great game on paper. Then finally, Virgil van Dijk, after his heroics in the Carabao Cup final, will be finding a place in my back 3 against Nottingham Forest away. Not the best defensive game to be honest, so if Pedro Porro does make a recovery, I might switch him out for Big Verge. But overall, no complaints really with our back 3, definitely some points potential. Let's hope for some bullet headers in Game Week 27. Then our midfield department, Richarlison is back in the lineup with that Crystal Palace at home game. We then have Saka with Sheffield United away, won't be my captain currently, but I could see the armband shift come that deadline. Then Hwang Hee-chan currently against Newcastle away. Let's just hope that he gets back on form after a pretty bad blank Game Week 26. And as you guys know, Newcastle can't defend at the moment. Then Phil Foden as United at home, great fixture with United's form, and I do expect Man City to win and at least score a few goals. Then our forward department looks even better. We've got Dom Solanke against Burnley away, great fixture, as well as Ollie Watkins against Luton away. So both away games, which might be a little bit annoying, but both options are great strikers, and therefore I can see returns for both of them. Then the final player, Erling Haaland, our captain currently, but that might shift to Saka. I just feel like with United's form, Erling Haaland can still do quite well. Is at their tier as well, so the Manchester derby should have some goals in it. Fingers crossed Foden and Haaland are involved. But as you guys can see, with 1 transfer to spend, the team is looking pretty decent, I won't lie. Yes, we might make a big upgrade with our money in the bank, but we might also just roll the transfer into double Game Week 28. If you guys can recommend a move, comment it down below. Otherwise, what moves are you guys making for the upcoming Game Week 27? Any big hitters that you guys are bringing in? So let's go over the transfer plan, and the first thing I want to address is please wait for those transfers. As you guys know, the FA Cup is coming up tonight, Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's going to tell us who blanks in Game Week 29. So once again, the trip strategy and the transfers should be locked in after those games, so I'll try and hold those transfers for as long as possible. Now the first situation I want to just address is going to be rolling the transfer. This might be a very kind of likely, probable move. As you guys would have just seen, the starting 11 looks pretty good, and we do have some bench coverage if the players come back from injury. So I wouldn't be surprised if I do want to keep hold of the options currently, give them one more game week, for example, a Hwang Chan or a Phil Foden, but there might be a player that I actually want to bring into my team. So that player quite hot on the targets is going to be Heung-min Son, as you guys know came back from the Asia Cup about 2 game weeks ago. And the biggest thing about Spurs is they have a confirmed game in game week 29. So that Fulham away game is one to target if you guys do want to go for a pretty strong game week 29, and that's how Heung-min Son's on the radar for a lot of managers. Now he also has Crystal Palace at home, which is a plum fixture. Think that Spurs will get back on the scoring way of things. The only downside might be Aston Villa in game week 28. But I guess you guys would have just seen my midfield department looks pretty stacked. Yes, I could take out Garnacho if I want to, but I would prefer to maybe keep him on the bench as he's quite a cheap option. So the one player on my radar is going to be a South Korean. For South Korean switch, it might be Hwang Chan from Wolves for Heung-min Son. As mentioned, I did bring him in as a 1-week punt. So the reason he was a 1-week punt is I would have sold De Bruyne anyways for Heung-min Son this game week, and therefore I took a chance on that Sheffield United at home game. But what I could also do is extend this move to kind of a 1-week or a 2-week or 3-week punt. If Wolves get a blank game week 29 fixture, that might be quite likely. Even if they don't, I guess Newcastle and Fulham at home aren't the worst fixtures in the world, and that's why keeping Hwang Chan might be a viable solution. The thing I guess is that you want Heung-min Son by game week 29 anyways, and if Hwang Chan continues the form of last game week, this move looks pretty probable. Now if I choose to keep Hwang Chan, I could also go for a Phil Foden out. I do expect Man City to blank in game week 29 as they are playing Luton this midweek. So if Man City do blank, I could also do this move either in game week 29 or I can do it this week. Just depends how high you hold Man United and Liverpool. I wish Son had a better fixture next week because then I could just do this move then, but I could see Man City scoring against Liverpool and maybe Aston Villa keeping out Spurs. So this transfer this week is less likely, but in the future it's more likely than the Hwang Chan move, as I do expect Man City to blank in game week 29. So do I bring this up a few game weeks, do this week instead of rolling the transfer, or do I keep the patience and do it before blank game week 29? These moves will get a little bit easier though as the FA Cup games do get knocked down, and that's why I'm saying hold those transfers for after the FA Cup games. I just wanted to present you guys the current plan, which is either rolling the transfer or going for Heung-min Son, as the rest of the starting 11 looks pretty decent. After the FA Cup games do conclude, you guys can maybe decide if you want to free it in blank game week 29 or not, and that might be quite integral to your transfer plan. But comment down below what moves you guys making, what moves did you suggest I do? Do you like Heung-min Son in this week for Hwang Chan or for Foden? But I think I might actually just roll the transfer. But this is basically going to wrap the video guys. Hope you guys did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. As mentioned, FA Cup goodness this midweek. So the content's probably going to be back after those games do conclude on Wednesday evening. So for the time being, I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.